I've been working as a canine handler for close to 9 years now. My partner is a 4-year-old German Shepherd named Rex. He's trained in both tracking and narcotics detection, and he's as reliable as they come. Loud noises don't shake him. Tight spaces don't bother him. I've taken him through abandoned buildings, dense woods in the middle of the night, and situations where most dogs would hesitate, but not Rex. That's exactly why what happened that night never sat right with me. We got called in to assist patrol after a suspect fled on foot. Officers had tried to stop him a few blocks away, but he ran. They chased him through backyards until they lost him near a house. When they checked the property, they found the side gate open and the back door unlocked. A neighbor reported hearing what sounded like a struggle coming from the backyard. That alone was enough to take things seriously. Patrol cleared the first floor, but didn't feel confident calling it safe. They believed the suspect may have forced his way inside and could still be hiding somewhere. Rex and I arrived roughly 20 minutes later. The house was a quiet 2-story place, sitting in a calm suburban neighborhood. From the outside, nothing looked disturbed. No broken windows, no forced entry at the front. The officers gave me a quick rundown. No clear signs of a fight, just the open access point in the back and the fact that the suspect disappeared right near the property. I clipped Rex onto a short lead and gave him the command to search. He moved instantly, focused, controlled, methodical. We cleared the first floor room by room. Living room, clear. Kitchen, clear. Laundry room, clear. Nothing unusual. So we headed upstairs. The hallway was narrow, with 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. The air felt still up there. No breeze, no movement. Every window was shut, which made sense since the homeowners weren't even in town. Rex and I checked the first bedroom. Clear. Second bedroom. Clear. Then he pulled toward the bathroom at the end of the hall. I stepped inside and scanned it. Everything looked normal. Clean, undisturbed, nothing out of place. Rex began sniffing along the floor, the vanity, the edges of the room. Then suddenly, he froze. His ears shot forward, his body locked stiff. A low growl started building in his chest. Within seconds, it turned into aggressive barking. But he wasn't looking inside the bathroom. He was staring out into the hallway. I slowly stepped backward with him, my pulse starting to rise. "What is it?" I whispered. Rex didn't move. He was locked onto something down the hall. I followed his line of sight, and that's when I saw it. At the far end of the hallway, near the last bedroom door, there was a figure standing there. Tall, completely still, dark, almost blending into the shadows. And it definitely wasn't one of the officers. No one had come upstairs. I knew exactly where my team was positioned, and if they had moved, they would have announced it. I identified myself immediately. "Police, Canine Unit, show yourself." No response. Not even a shift. "Who is that?" I called out louder. Still nothing. Rex began pulling backward, hard. I had never seen him do that before. Not once. He didn't want to go forward. Then, the figure turned and slowly walked into the bedroom at the end of the hall. My grip tightened. That had to be the suspect. It had to be. I radioed it in. "Possible suspect located upstairs and bedroom. Start moving up." I tried to guide Rex forward. He resisted every step. He kept looking back at me like he didn't understand why I was making him go. When we reached the doorway, he stopped completely, refused to move, would not cross. I drew my weapon and stepped inside first. The room was empty, completely empty. Just a bed against the wall and a dresser across from it. No movement, no sound, no place to hide. I held position until backup reached me. Once they did, we searched everything. Closet, empty. Under the bed, clear. Windows, locked. Walls, solid. No attic access, no crawl space, nothing.
Rex stayed in the hallway. He wouldn't step inside, not even an inch. One of the other officers tried coaxing him in. Nothing worked. We searched every possible angle, checked for hidden panels, re-cleared the entire second floor. There was nowhere anyone could have gone. And yet, we all knew what we saw, or at least what Rex reacted to. After about 20 minutes, I told them I needed to get Rex out of there. As we left, he kept looking back down that hallway, at that room. The moment we stepped outside into the night air, he relaxed. Not fully, but enough to notice. Back in his crate, he curled up immediately. But something was off. He didn't look at me the way he usually does after a search. Patrol wrapped things up shortly after, but I haven't been able to let that night go. I've replayed it in my head more times than I can count. Part of me believes it was the suspect, a real person. But if it was, how did they disappear? And why did Rex react like that? Some people would say we saw something else entirely, something not human. I don't know. All I do know is this. Rex has faced armed suspects without hesitation. He's entered far worse environments. But that room? He wouldn't step inside. And I trust that dog more than I trust my own instincts. Every officer has that one call they can't explain. That night was mine.
I joined the police force when I was 21 years old. It was a small, remote town, one I won't name. The department needed officers, and I needed money. I had a young child at home, so the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Like most rookies, I was assigned to the night shift, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Some of the guys joked that I always got stuck with the worst hours, but honestly, I didn't mind. I've always been more comfortable at night. Most shifts were quiet. Speeding tickets, the occasional DUI, long stretches of sitting in the cruiser listening to podcasts while the world slept. In a strange way, it was peaceful. But about a year in, that changed. One night, a massive thunderstorm rolled through town. Heavy rain flooded the streets and power outages hit entire blocks. I positioned my cruiser in a central parking lot, trying to stay ready for any incoming calls. Around 2 a.m., dispatch came over the radio. It was Claire. She sounded tense. She said they'd just received a call from a man claiming he had been kidnapped. He said he was being held inside someone's home. Then the call dropped. When she tried calling back, no answer. I checked the address on my onboard computer. 10 minutes away. I was the closest unit. I radioed in that I was responding and requested backup. Another officer, Chris, chimed in. He said he'd meet me there. Then Claire came back on the radio. She hesitated just for a moment. Then she said something that stuck with me. The caller didn't sound normal. She said it sounded like the man was altering his voice, like he was trying to sound like a child, specifically like a young girl. She advised us to proceed with extreme caution. That was enough to put both of us on edge. I acknowledged and headed out. When I turned into the neighborhood, everything was dark. Every streetlight was out. No power, no visibility. Chris was already there when I arrived, his cruiser idling in front of the house. I pulled up beside him. We both stared at the property. It looked wrong. The grass was overgrown, knee-high. Bushes blocked the windows. The roof was damaged, missing shingles. It didn't look lived in, more like it had been forgotten. That alone made my instincts kick in. You can tell a lot about someone by how they maintain their space, and this place, it told a story I didn't like. I told Chris I'd take the lead. We stepped out into the rain and approached the front door. He had his flashlight ready. I knocked. We waited. Footsteps approached from inside, then stopped. Silence.
That heavy, uncomfortable kind, like someone was standing just on the other side, watching. My eyes drifted toward the peephole. The second I looked at it, something moved, quick, like someone had just stepped back. "If you're inside, we need to speak with you. Open the door," I called out. A pause, then the lock clicked. The door creaked open just a few inches. A man peeked through the gap. Early 30s, overweight, thinning hair, thick glasses, and his eyes. Something wasn't right. I told him about the call, someone from his address claiming they'd been kidnapped. He looked confused, said it must have been a pocket dial, but when I asked about the voice, he hesitated, just for a second, then denied knowing anything. I asked if anyone else was inside. He said no, that he lived alone. I told him we needed to come in. He refused, said we needed a warrant. So I got one, fast. Within minutes, dispatch confirmed it was approved. We were clear to enter. When I showed it to him, his hands started shaking. He stepped aside. The moment I walked in, the smell hit me. Rotten, overwhelming. I scanned the living room. It was disgusting. Trash everywhere. Dirty dishes, clothes piled across the floor, cockroaches crawling over everything. I'd seen bad living conditions before, but this was something else. Then I noticed something on the floor near the hallway. A pink Barbie doll house. I recognized it instantly. I had bought that exact one for my daughter. I asked him if he had kids. He said no, said his nieces visited sometimes. I didn't believe him, not for a second. No parent would let their child step into a place like this. I warned him this was his last chance to tell the truth. He stuck to his story. So I moved down the hallway. Chris held him back. First room, toys everywhere, diapers, and in the corner, a figure. My heart jumped. I drew my weapon, then realized it was a doll. But not just any doll. It was life-sized, dressed in women's clothing. Neatly arranged clothes on the bed beside it. Everything organized, perfectly. While the rest of the house was chaos, that contrast felt deeply wrong. I continued to the end of the hall. There was a door. Basement. The man started panicking behind me, telling me there was nothing down there, apologizing, begging me to stop. That's when I knew someone was down there. I opened the door. Darkness. A staircase leading down. I heard something. Movement. Rattling. I drew my weapon and started down. Each step creaked. The sound got louder. I reached the bottom. There was another door. The noise was coming from behind it. I ordered whoever was inside to come out. Nothing. I got closer, heart pounding. I opened the door, ready for anything. What I found? I won't describe in detail, but this is what matters. There was a man. He had been held captive for 2 years. 2 years. The homeowner had been keeping him there. That night, he got lucky. The suspect left his phone behind. The victim used Siri to call 911. But when we arrived, he couldn't respond. Not because he didn't want to, but because he was too afraid. Afraid we'd mistake him for a threat. We arrested the suspect immediately. The victim was taken to the hospital. He survived. He made it home. But one thing still bothers me. Claire said the caller sounded like a child, a young girl. And the only explanation I've ever been able to come up with is this. He had been forced to speak that way for so long that it became his only voice. And if that's true, then what else was he forced to become?
I've been a patrol officer for over 8 years now, mostly night shifts. You see a lot during those hours. Fights, break-ins, overdoses. After a while, it all starts to blur together. But some calls, they stay with you. This was one of them. It was late October, around 2:40 in the morning. Dispatch sent me to a 911 hang-up call. The caller had reported hearing a woman screaming inside the house next door. Then the line went dead. The address was in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place where nothing really happens. I was 5 minutes away. When I arrived, everything was still, silent. A light rain had started. The house looked normal, too normal. But then I saw it. The front door was slightly open. That changed everything. I radioed it in and requested backup, but I was at least 10 minutes out from any help, so I went in. Inside, everything looked fine. Too clean, too quiet. No signs of forced entry, no struggle. But something felt off. I checked the living room. Clear. Kitchen. A glass of water sitting on the table, like someone had just been there. I called out. No answer. Upstairs, I heard something. A faint shuffle. I drew my weapon and moved slowly. There were 3 doors, one slightly open. I pushed it. Bedroom. Messy bed. Lamp knocked over, but no one inside. No way out. Second room. Kid's bedroom. Empty. Then I saw it. Outside the bathroom. A dark spot. Wet. Blood. My heart rate spiked. I called it in. Opened the door. More blood. In the tub, but no body. Then, a sound from downstairs. A creak. Someone was moving. I went back down. Everything looked the same, except one thing. A door near the kitchen, slightly open. It hadn't been before. I opened it. Basement stairs. Pitch black. I went down. At the bottom, I saw a chair. Metal. Zip ties attached. Cut. And blood. A lot of it. Then, movement. A figure ran. Fast. Toward a small window. Glass shattered. They escaped. I followed. Cut my hand climbing through. Chased them. But lost them. We never found them. The homeowner. Missing. Blood confirmed it was his, but not enough to prove he died. And the neighbor, she swore she heard a woman screaming, but no woman was ever connected to that house. Case is still open. No answers. Sometimes I still drive by that street. A new family lives there now. Kids playing outside. Normal life. But I know what happened there. Or at least, I know something did.